House of consciousness.
Peace and black power, family.
House of consciousness.
Never saw that a
House of
TV.
consciousness.
Saw another story.
House of consciousness.
The Mfundishi has never been deciphered. Professor Walter Williams, that's in your age bracket, in your age group, he said the Mfundishi has never been deciphered. I would say if that is true, then that means everything that was taught to us in the Mfundishi.
All right, first of all, my teacher, Sister Raketti Aman, addressed Brother Walter Williams. Right? Was it Walter? Yeah.
Yeah, Professor Walter Williams.
And that's a misnomer. It's because these people don't know Mfundishi because they have no background. They think nobody else does. First of all, Mfundishi, the divine words of the Creator, which the Europeans call hieroglyphics, we know the grammar. We even know the vocabulary. We know that Coptic is the last version of Mfundishi, and people still speak Coptic. I went to Ethiopia and studied Coptic. The Mfundishi is still being used in words today. Dr. Diop proved beyond the shadow of a doubt,
I'm listening to you.
beyond the shadow of a doubt, that Mfundishi is still spoken in Wolof. It's still spoken in Mandi. It's still spoken in Fulani. It's still spoken in several African languages. In fact, I belong to a group called the Kiswahili Mfundishi group. It's a Bantu language. So much of the words in Mfundishi are still spoken by African people today. So we can trace the language, and people are studying this. Excuse me. And the grammar, we know it perfectly. We know grammar that Europeans are using today is an offshoot of our stuff. We created what they have, Latin and all those other languages. And so that grammar is still used today, and we can break it down. I'm an Africologist. That means I know the history. I've studied the Nile Valley, so that's Tanzania, Ethiopia, Kenya, Somalia, Sudan. Those people are still there. I've been there. I talk with them. And so this language is still alive, and it only went underground because Europeans realized they were stealing all the information from there, and they didn't want you to be able to study the source. And now they got us acting on their behalf so that you would discredit African scholars. There are linguists. Suta Seti is not a linguist. Dr. Walter Rodney is not a linguist.
Right, right.
We got linguists who are speaking the language. I speak 7 African languages, and those languages are entwined in the Mfundishi. And if I have a blackboard, I can just break it down and show you. In fact, at the conference, I will have the blackboard up there. And I'll be breaking down the stem, by root, okay, of how this Mfundishi. And Sutan's name, this is no attack on him, but that's not, his name ain't Mfundishi. Sutan, because he didn't know any grammar, that word should be Nasut. Nasut, not Sutan. His name is backwards because he don't know no Mfundishi. But that's no disrespect to him. He just don't know the language. It's like I don't speak French, okay? So that doesn't make me a negative person.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm not going to say nobody speak French because I don't speak it. You see, that's what they're doing.
Right.
And all these people are jumping on the Kemetic legacy. Why do you study an ancient Kemet then? You can only take the Europeans' word for it? See, what they're afraid of is that African scholars like ourselves now are rewriting the books.
Yes.
We're rewriting the books from an African-centered perspective. Okay? And so, they're afraid that they have to abandon their European scholars. Okay?
There was a white boy that he mentioned. I forgot his name. You might know it. He said that the Mfundishi came from him. What's the white boy name? You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh man. But keep talking. I'm gonna get it. Yeah, keep talking.
Okay. No. I just want to just make it sure. What's all that screaming about? The Hebrew Israelites. Okay. Okay. All right.
You already know. Well, they was in Egypt.
No, they weren't in Egypt.
Was there ever a time when the Hebrews was in Egypt?
I think Brother Ali kind of addressed that. No, they're a fictitious group who are ashamed of, or ignorant of their own history, number one.
No, let them finish. Go ahead.
Ignorant of their own history, that's number one. Anti-African, number two. Don't like themselves and they want to belong to something. So they've jumped on a doctrine that actually comes from Kemet. You know, so even the Hebrew doctrine, its foundation is based upon Akhenaten's teacher, who was an ancient Kemite. So I don't really have too much to say to them, you know, because we're supposed to be building. Let me just say this: the Kemetic legacy is to build character. So if you got to scream and cuss everybody out, that means you don't have no character. So your religion or your spiritual system is faulty right there. At the basis of our system is ma'at. I don't need to scream my stuff down nobody's throat. And I don't need to, listen, there's something called the law of attraction.
That's right.
Whatever you speak is what you get. Especially if it's constantly coming from you. So if you're always talking about the white man, the white man, the white man, then that's what you're going to get. You know, so they need to change their agenda. Just put forth your agenda. I don't need to badmouth nobody to put forth my agenda. All I got to do is talk about the truth. And I love to put up a timeline. And y'all, I will put up a timeline at the conference. Because when I say, when ancient Kemet was doing this, where were y'all? When we had doctrines that talked about the universe and the cosmos, where were you? You hadn't even been thought of. And the first Hebrew, who was supposed to be who? Abraham. It says in the Bible that that's an allegory. It says it in the Bible that Abraham is an allegory, which means that's a made-up story. So that means your whole premise is based upon a made-up story. Now, let me just say this. Everybody I talk about in ancient Kemet, I can show you them. I can show you their monument. I can show you their mummy. We can take a DNA sampling. There are Africans that are still, that we can prove. You can't prove nobody in any of those books. So I want to just make sure that that's clear.
That's what I'm talking about. Go ahead. What's up, my brother Diamond? He said you can't find the Medu Neter beyond Champollion. He's giving the credit to Champollion.
All right, let me just say this here. No.
And he said, we can't trust no white boy.
All right, let me just say this. See, he didn't do his homework. Champollion's partner was a black man who spoke Coptic. Champollion's best friend and Champollion learned Coptic. So that's how he was able to break part of the trade, because Coptic is still spoken. So that blows him away again. So if he agrees with the white boy got his stuff from Coptic, which is still spoken today. Woo!
Come on now.
So, you know, so let's go there. Let's go. Let's make sure that you understand that.
Excuse me, y'all need some help over there? Because I could pause it. I don't want my brother to lose out no money.
35.
I already know it's BS, but I want him to break it down because a lot of people, it's not filming yet, right?
Yes, it is.
What's that?
Okay, so now you were going into some very profoundly interesting points. You was giving a lot of historical sources to validate what it is that you were saying, and I appreciate that as a student of history. My question to you, Brother Mfundishi, is in regards to what is called the Murna Patah Stele, which some people call the Israelite stele, or something that validates the Hebrew Israelites' claim to the story that's supposed to give validity to the claim that they were in Egypt. Any insight you can give us on the Murna Patah Stele, what it is, what it isn't, and dispel some of the myths surrounding that as it pertains to their so-called history?
The only thing that stele shows is that some foreign people came into Kemet.
Yes.
And that these people came in as beggars and as traders, and you know, but they came in one little group, one family.
That's right.
One little group of family. So let me just say that if one little family came in and intermarried with a whole bunch of black folks, then who do you got?
You got them.
Right.
Children.
And how come there is no record of, other than that, of them? There's no record of no Hebrews nowhere in Kemet.
That's right.
And the Hebrews didn't build nothing. They weren't scientists. Right. You were desert dwellers.
That's right.
Desert dwellers who was kicked out of Canaan. Right? Okay, so you got to understand that. And Canaan was a black nation.
That's right.
So, so I need to know, where did you get the science from? And there's no pyramid made from mud, brick, and straw. Dr. Ben dispelled all of that.
Now, this question is kind of in conjunction.
And let me say this, the pyramids are older than the so-called first Hebrew.
By far.
By over 2,000 years.
But they claim, and me as a former student of that knowledge and that school of thought, of course I've evolved from there. Okay, they would try to propose that Abraham taught the Egyptians arithmetic, which is simple math. This is what is in the doctrine. I would call that scam if they would claim that is.
I don't even need to speak on that because that's not even intelligent.
But that was a condom. My question is in compound with. Well, in conjunction with the previous question that I just asked you,
yes.
And it is pertaining to the Myrna Patah Stele. Can you give us a little bit of history? Because that's what it's not. It's not talking about the Hebrews.
Right.
What is that stele, and why is it called the Israelite stele? Well, do you have any history of why it even is called that, and who was behind naming it that?
No, I really don't have any background on why it was called that, so I'd have to give you some different information on that. But I just need people to know that the only way Hebrews can be associated, even with Kemet at also, is that they came in with the Hyksos.
That's right.
So that would be the only way. And the Hyksos came in during the intermediate period in ancient Kemet, right?
That's right.
And then they were expelled. Okay? And so that would be but they weren't the Hyksos only lived in the northern part of Kemet, near the Delta region.
Right.
Okay, and their power really controlled the port. Okay, and then when they were actually expelled twice. So I just need people to understand that. So that would be, so they had no power. And let me say that, the Hyksos came in and they couldn't read and write, and when the Hyksos left, they still couldn't read and write.
Yeah.
Right, and they embraced Set. So they had all the Netzeru to choose from, and they chose Set to worship. Okay, so I need to just make that clear. But the black family of the 17th dynasty, Amos Nefertari's children, kicked them out. That was their last stand. But other than that, there's no record of no Hebrews in there.
And that's interesting that you say that because, by far you're more of a historian on the history of the Kemetic ancestors than I am. I'm a student. You're a teacher. I want you to go in a little bit about like the name Thutmose. It's funny that you have Thutmose, which is similar to the story of Moses, and if you take the word Thut off of it, Thutmose, you got Moses.
Right.
You take the Thut off.
So,
and wasn't he behind expelling the Hyksos, which sounds like Moses liberating his people? It was around the same time, and the historicity is similar. You want to go a little bit on that, maybe?
All right, this goes back to people not knowing the Medu Neter. First of all, there is no Medu Neter that says Thutmose.
Okay.
That name is Jehutimus. My first name is Jehutimus.
That's right.
Nobody in Kemet was called Moses.
Okay.
Moses is a bastardization of the word mes, or mesu, which means to be born of.
Okay.
To be born of what? So nobody in Kemet had a name called Moses. That means the people who wrote that was never there and didn't know Medu Neter. So I need to say that. Nobody called Moses.
Oh, it's Thutmose.
That's his name is Jehutimus.
Right.
Thutmose is incorrect.
Right, that's what I'm saying. There was nobody there named Thutmose.
Right.
The name Moses is from a distortion of the name.
Right. Moses is a distortion of a part of a name. That means that's like I'm saying I'm born of and never put somebody else.
That's right.
Right. All right. So I need to just clarify that.
Yes, sir.
Now he was a warrior. You have to understand, he was a warrior.
Yes.
So he actually expelled all foreigners from the Delta region and actually moved into Asia. Conquering people there. So I believe he had like 18 or so battles and never lost. People try to say he's the Napoleon of Kemet, but that's a misnomer because Napoleon got his butt kicked all the time and was a short run, and this is somebody who was never defeated and who was a giant of a man. So if anything, Napoleon was trying to act like Jehutimus. So I need to reverse that. See, we're defining things from a European perspective.
That's right.
When we are the origins of all things.
That's right.
So we have to go back, you know, and reorganize that. So it's Jehutimas.
All right, so now
No Moses.
Also, no, you can say that. There's also talks about the early writings. See, all these claims that these Hebrews do without doing no fact checking, they say writing, not all of them, some of them say writing came out of Samaria.
No. Brother Ali just talked about that. But no, writing started in ancient Kush and then was introduced into Kemet. So I need to say that. All I need to do is, I just happen to have my book right here, the Castell Incense Burner.
And it's not just war is not in the Middle East, the war is out of America.
Beast right there.
The Castell Incense Burner.
But who is this talking about specifically?
That's why people
Right.
have to commit to study.
On my page 19, the Castell Incense Burner comes from ancient Kush. It already defines ancient Kemet. Here's the king wearing the white crown. Here is Haru, the great falcon, showing that he is the leader and the ruler is depicted as great. Here's the great bull. Here's the facade of the White House. All of this is in ancient Kush before Norma unified Upper and Lower Kemet. So this writing is already in existence before Canaan. And let me say this, the Canaanites came from ancient Kush also. So that's what people understand. They were called the blackheads, not because they had black hats, because they were black. So they were there before, so the ancient Canaan were black people who also come from ancient Kush. Nimrod is one of the founders. Nimrod is the son of Kush. So see, people don't know their history. And cuneiform was only used by the royal family and the royal family and the royalty. It was never taught to the common people.
Talk to us about that book right there. If people still, because you know you got a lot of people doing research.
Okay.
So if they want to get a hold of that book, how can you make that available for the people?
Well, if they're not in New York to buy it here, they can go on my website, Mfundishi and they can order it. They can just pay through PayPal. They can order the book and we ship.
Let me zoom in on the name so you ain't got to spell it all out. Let me zoom in on the name so they can screenshot that right there. Say the website again.
Mfundishi Madunetcha.com.
Okay, there you have it, family. That's it right there. You can go and check that out. If you're still trying to do some fact finding and research, that's a grandmaster teacher right there.
Grandmaster.
Let me ask you, brother,
Yes.
how many times you have visited or made your pilgrimage?
Okay,
to
excellent.
Mecca?
I appreciate that. So you got a lot of people talking about Kemet made 1 trip, 2 trips.
Right.
I've made 25 trips. This year, in 2016, it'll be my 26th trip to Kemet. And every time I go, I'm studying, I'm learning. I don't go there with my cup full. I go there with my cup empty. I'm still learning. And I'm with the Nubians, the Kushites. I'm there with them. And I'm translating the stuff myself. I take those pictures and we come back and my advanced student, Dr. Jeffries, Dr. Rosalind Jeffries, all of them are in my group and we're still translating. Right now we're retranslating the Book of Gates, the 12 hours of day and 12 hours. We're retranslating all of that.
Wow. Beautiful, brother. All right, so in closing, what could the people be looking for this Kemetic conference coming up? What do you think you got to show them?
Okay, I'm not going to be debating nobody.
No, it's not a debate.
I'm going to be talking about Madunetcha, how it can help us think symptomatically so that we can understand symbolic teaching. Symbolic teaching is ruining the world right now. The Hebrew Israelite, this is symbolic teaching. They can't prove none of that. It's symbolism.
No substance.
Right. In fact, all religion right now, all religions right now is based upon symbolic teaching. What you need to learn is symptomatic teaching. How to be symptomatic. The human mind learns symptomatic. See, racism can only exist through symbolic teaching. Right. You don't even know the source of the information. And so that's what we're going to do. So that's what my contribution is, to show symptomatic thinking, how you can use the Madunetcha, who they claim you can't read, how you can use that to resurrect your mind and bring us together.
You can dispel a lot of confusion because you're going to address a vast array of subject matter, and I believe that those who are, because the viewership is vast. There's a lot of people globally paying attention to this.
How many people
You'll be surprised. It surprises me.
Hold on. How many people came out of the Hebrew?
But there are people who are Christians, people who are different persuasions of Hebrew Israelites, so on and so forth, who you will add a lot more clarity to them and help liberate the minds of our people.
Let me just make this statement here.
Yes, sir.
The Kemetic spiritual system, not religion, the Kemetic spiritual system, is supposed to teach you good character.
That's right.
I have not met many of them who have good character. If you got to cuss, scream, and use derogatory terms for everybody on the planet, I even heard them say that when they get in charge, when Jesus come back and they get in charge, they're going to enslave the Europeans. They're going to enslave. Come on, that means you're going to do what you are.
They was going to rape white women.
Yeah, I mean, that's, why do I even want to debate with somebody like that? I don't even.
No, not all of them. But
No, that's what they was talking. The original ISUPK talked that.
He don't speak like that.
Okay, all right. But I heard him right here. One of the guys said, when we take over, we're going to enslave Europeans, we're enslaving the Asians, we're going to have all of them bowing down to us. I don't even want to be with nobody like that, because that's anti-Ma'at. That's anti-Ma'at. So I need the brother to have better character for me to sit down and have a talk with right now.
All right.
So hopefully they'll respect that.
Yes, sir. All right. So my brother, I thank you, Mfundishi. I can't wait. Me and you supposed to do something soon.
Yes, sir.
Coming at my house, man.
Right. In a couple of weeks.
Yeah, in a couple of weeks.
In a couple of weeks, I'm going to sit down again so people will have some information even before they go to the conference based down. What I really want to do is take the Medu Neter and take a historical timeline and show you fact by fact. All these people, everybody's jumping on the Kemetic bandwagon now.
Right.
In fact, thank you. So that alone is telling you that we're the source of all these people's information. Brother Ali just explained that the people who founded Islam originally were blacks who were coming from Kemet. Yeah. You know, so everybody is tapping off of that. We are the creators of the science that spread throughout the world, and that's what I want to show. The science comes out of the whole Kemetic spiritual legacy. And I want to say this in closing. Science is spirituality that you can't see, but you can feel its end results. Science is spirituality that you can touch, feel, and see. So they're both coming out of Kemet, whether it's the spiritual science or the physical science. Amin Ra Nasut Netra, Atin Ra Nabanang.
Thank you. Give me that. We just got through talking with a grandmaster teacher, Brother Mfundishi around the corner. He went in. And now we are here with another grandmaster teacher who our youth could always see walking up and down the street. We are here, we are tangible. You can reach out and touch us. Ask us anything you want to know. There are words coming out now that people are saying the Medu Neter has never been deciphered. If that is true, then everything that is taught to us about ancient Egypt, then we got to throw all of that away. What is your... Mfundishi dispelled that and said, no, that's not real, about the Medu Neter. He knows the writing. He knows the science. What do you say when you hear people say the Medu Neter has never been deciphered, like Professor Walter Williams? He makes that claim.
Well, make it easy for you is that the Medu Neter, the God's speech and stuff like that. No, you got things like the Diop, Theophilo Binger, and those ones that know the Medu Neter, like other people over here, Jacob Carruthers, yeah. Oh, there's a whole bunch of people. So that's just a bunch of bullshit. The person who's saying that don't even know what they're talking about. Because they don't have vowels in there. So that's one of the things that they do. But since you can put the vowels in there, but what Diop and them did, they looked at other African languages and those words was there, so they put them together. So, that's just a bunch of crap.
Okay. One of the questions I should have asked Mfundishi, I missed out on it, is I'm going to ask you, our African brothers who come over here, Muslim out. Islam, more Allah, Prophet Muhammad than the Arabs. Why is it that a lot of not all of them, but some of our brothers that come over here They don't want to hear nothing about ancient Kemet. They think that, oh, no, astaghfirullah, when we start talking about ancient Kemet and the principles of Ma'at. What's up with that? Why is it so hard for them, being that they come off the continent, that they don't even want to study Kemet science?
Well, I mean, if you just look at it just the way it is, right? When they came over there, they got them off their seat and put them on their seat, right? The same thing over here. We're Christians, and the Muslims, right? And so that we don't look at Egypt that way because the Bible and the Quran got negative to Egypt. So that, I mean, that's to be expected when people are over centuries of learning these things and so on and so forth. And so they got that in the thing. So they swear up and down on Jesus and all that, so on and so forth, or Allah, whatever, you know. So I mean, that's where it's going. Now, what that done is it dividing us. It's not putting us together. And so we are like these fingers instead of being like this. We have to go back to unity. Egypt is a good example of that. So you got the 42 nomes, right? The 242 nomes they had. What most people don't realize is they got different groups of Africa in those places. Come on. And they have different spiritual way of things that they do themselves. But when they put it together, what they did is they put those together and put a natural thing over it on the top of it, in which everybody could do whatever you've been doing, but now you're part of a country. And now you're like this. See, we never put down. See, these other religions and stuff like that, they're very, very, very arrogant. They tell you this is the only thing and only thing here and nothing else. They put it all together and they used it all together. And so they can keep what they doing. It doesn't get in my way. It doesn't get in their way, or anybody's way. And that's what they did. And so it's a beautiful thing to put all that together, and they stayed together. And what for what we know now, what it is, it's the oldest country in the world and the longest country in the world, that more than any other nation. So they taught us how to do have harmony. If we use that thing, we would have harmony, and we can be just like this and get strong as we was before.
Do you have a question? Will you be attending the Armageddon December 13th? Will you be attending the conference, the Kemetic Armageddon conference that we're having?
Yeah, I'm gonna be there.
Yeah, National Black Theater. Okay. Are you going to be speaking? Is he going to be speaking on the panel?
He's going to be there. He's going to set up. That's his
He's going to set up? Okay. Just tell the people a little bit, how long have you been studying? Because I can tell you're very astute. Your elder brother, been around a long time, to our viewership out there. How long have you been studying, and what is it that is your foundation or that you're rooted in as far as the moral, spiritual system?
Well, I would say this. For me, I've been very lucky. Got me out of the streets. It's like people like Ben, Clark, and all the rest of them. And then I went to Egypt with Ben.
Wow.
And I went to it a number of times with him, actually, and other African countries and stuff like that. So that's what got me. And I also been in study groups. So I always been in study groups. And the study groups and stuff like that is good because you get different people and different understanding from other people, right? So it's beautiful. So that's I like reading, I like learning, and that's what I do. Okay. And so I like it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So all inclusive, man. The spiritual systems, because a lot of them have a root, but they've manifested in different ways along the, with our travels and going to different countries and things like that. They might have took on different names or facades and stuff like that, but they all had their same essential root. But you deal with the foundation of it. You just apply, those things to yourself to build character and knowledge, and I appreciate and respect that.
You have to. Look, anybody who's standing on somebody else's foundation,
that's right,
is going to be losing. Because now you're worshiping some other people than other yourself. You have to lean on your own foundation. The foundation for everything that we know of from 2000 BC, 160,000 BC, we ourselves is the only thing that we can stand on. Look at the mathematics that they was doing in South Africa 160,000 years ago. It's still there that you can go and see it. The other thing about these other people who got us on their platform can't prove what they're talking about. They can't do that.
Actual fact.
Yeah, so when you ask them a question, they have to go to the book that they say is the holy book to get their information. They don't have anything that they can sit up there and give you primary things that will show you that they was in places that they say they was in these places, or doing the things that they did. They can't do it. They can only go to their book and do it. We don't have to do that. We can actually go, I can go right now and show you in South Africa where the thing is. If I want to go in Egypt or any other place, whether it be Zimbabwe with the buildings there, you can say, boom, there it is. Well, where's your stuff?
I'm going to add to what you said, and that's a very great point that you made. You just mentioned something. You said I can go to South Africa to use frames of references down there, right? And it's important that you said that, because a lot of our people, we're just stuck in Egypt. And where Africa is very vast. It's a continent full of many countries, and in all throughout the countries we have history, and we've left legacies, and we've built monuments and temples and developed sciences and evolved sciences that we developed prior to moving to different countries after the fact. So within the continent of Africa. So it's important that we get to know that, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because a lot of us only deal with Kemet, and we should deal with Kemet, because a lot of the root of a lot of the sciences that we deal with stems from there, but we shouldn't just stay in that box, because it becomes romantic. It becomes very romantic, and then we lose focus that as a people we have a very vast and a very in-depth and a very profoundly great history that extends beyond just Kemet. So I'm glad that you mentioned that, and you know, I hope that this inspires a lot of the viewership out there to, in your pursuit of knowledge, to take that into consideration. Study Timbuktu, study the Ashanti Empire, study the Fulani, the Moses, study the Mandingo, the Zulu. The Zulu science is very profoundly deep. Study what made them talk about the sciences of them coming from the star constellations, you know, and deep sciences like that. What made them say these things? Yeah, you know, it's very important. Yes, sir.
No, please finish.
No, I'm kind of, you know, wrapping up my point. I was just trying to ask me a question, my brother.
With all them African countries you name, my brother, why is it that we are still divided today with our Africa, with the brothers that come over here? They say you're not African. And some of us over here, we say, oh, I'm not African. We are different people. What is it going to take for us to come together and say, yo, we are in the same movement? Because when the police shoot down one of our kids, there's no African in the movement. You don't see none of the brothers that come here saying, you know, they rolling with us. You don't see that. But when the police shoot one of them down, like Amadou Diallo, we flooded there, and we showed our love, and we showed our support. But you never see Africans joining arm in arm with us. Why is that, brother?
It goes into a lot of dynamics. It's not a simple answer, but I will simplify it as best as I can. If we understand that we are colonialized, not just here in America, that we were psychologically colonialized also in Africa, then we can begin to understand the mentalities that you see persisting that keep us divided. Now, a lot of people in Africa, they're very whitewashed. They're colonialized, they're Christianized, they have what they call Christian names. They are colonialized from under the French, the British, the Portuguese, the Arab, the European of different various parts of Europe. So
and we over here
are too. And then those are just how we've been psychologically colonialized and duped into believing that we are different. Okay, we are over 10,000 miles away and over 500 years away from Africa as a continent. So therefore, there are cultural differences, linguistic differences, and ways of thinking or perceiving our worldview that has put a wedge between us, not genetically, but ideologically and psychologically and culturally. We also have to understand that executive orders that were put in effect on behalf of the United States government, such as the Brzezinski files, the Brzezinski Act, which kind of dealt with a kind of measure to keep African Americans or Africans in diaspora in general, from doing business, trade, or networking on any kind of level of economics and politics with continental Africans. And so to undermine the economic agenda and global agenda of Europeans. Yes, look it up, the Brzezinski Act. Look at these measures that were put into effect, the Global 2000 report, where American think tank people sat down, specifically a research group, an American government research group called RAND, R-A-N-D, which means Research and Development. They have determined from, I believe this was the Ford administration, or no, Ford was 75, so this is the Carter administration, and they determined through vast research and study that the white population will be at a 0% growth. 0% growth white population by the year 2000. This is what they determined back in the 70s under the American think tank called RAND. And then in doing so, they came up with certain measures to ensure that the white population wouldn't just be genetically absorbed or destroyed. Part of that, in doing so, was certain executive orders and acts to keep us from doing trade, also AIDS, also other things that you've seen to keep us divided. There are a lot of things going on behind the scenes of us just already being psychologically duped for so many centuries that are on other levels of politics. And this is not no conspiracy theory. That's why I gave sources. Go look up the Global 2000 report. Go look up the Brzezinski file. Look at the historicity of what took place with the continental Africans and the Africans over here, to the point where even in continental Africa, they're not all supporting each other. There's tribalism, there's wars, there's hatred amongst them too. It's not like they're over there in some big mosaic just all getting along and just against us here. We're divided against each other here. African Americans, we're divided against West Indian and Caribbean Americans. We think we're different or better than them because we went to school or came up in America. So that's a kind of a house nigga mentality too. So a lot of us think we're different amongst ourselves with the class, with complexions, just amongst African Americans. If you're lighter or you grew up in a different demographic, you know, socially, we would think that we're better than our own people here. So I'm going to let the elder close out, but we can touch on this premise, and it's worthwhile that we do start to talk about these things more, okay? I'm a Pan-Africanist, so I'm going to reach out and network with Africans, and many continental Africans are Pan-African as well. But we have to start showing that and having a unity initiatives more so that people can see that. So I'm going to pass the mic to the beloved elder.
Now, you know what? You did a very good job.
Yes, sir. That's why he the
Yeah. But I would add to this just a little bit. It's in their favor for us to be like this.
That's right.
And because of that, we got natural resources all over Africa.
That's right.
And they want that, and they want it for nothing. And so they have to keep us barking and doing all that stuff with each other and not being able to get together with each other. It comes to their thing. Just another little thing. We've done something that no other people who have been enslaved as what we did after slavery was over out in '65, and that's when we built communities.
That's right.
And where stores, schools, you name it, we did it, right? No other people who's ever been in the position we did that we did it. Scared the living shit out of them, and that's when you come in with the Klan and all the rest of the stuff and so on and so forth. But I want to go one back, just a bit back what I was saying quickly. Down in South America, the same lines that you see in the pyramids, you see them stones in the ground down to the same thing on what we talk about Orion's belt. It's down there like that, right? Now, in Nubia, they make a mistake in the book, but because when they put Egypt together, Upper and Lower became a nation. It's another thing in there outside of a lake where it is you got that same stones like that laying in the thing, but they also have lines in that stone, and that they actually knew that it was a 25,920 year cycle.
Wow.
In order for you to be able to do that, you have to set up and do what? You have to see at least 3 to know what 14, 17, and 24 is going to be. So we already done did all that stuff, and they got it right there. It's still there. It's like it's still in what's the name? You got the Unk in South Africa. You got Heru and already in South Africa. So when I'm saying that, so what they doing is they going north, and all the places they went to north, it's only found 2 places where they got that at. And so yes, Egypt is there because you got more stuff than the other one, but they got it there.
Let me ask you this in closing. We out of here. Brother Sakou, tell the people how long you been out here doing what you do, vending, networking with the people, and who are some of the greats that you came across in your path of delivering this information and knowledge to our people. I know Dr. Khalid was one that constantly came through here. Brother Big Man, talk to the people about how long you've been out here on this trip, brother.
Well, I've been out here about 1965 from on. And yeah.
He's an institution himself.
And at the same time, like I said, by Clark, Ben, I got to Ben them. I got to see their libraries. Mackey, you name them. Gil, Matter of fact, Gil came by one time and he said, looked at the stuff. He said, "You ain't got none of the stuff on." I said, "Yeah, but Gil, your stuff is like that." He said, "Yeah, but he wanted to be out there too." So that was a hell of a thing. I never thought that. But anyway, just a lot of people I've been in contact with him. Jeffries. I mean, I knew Jacob Carruthers. I knew, I knew them all, and I got to do that. And
who are some of the grandmasters? Who are some of the grandmasters that you have sat at their feet, that you have studied, that you have watched? Talk to us about that.
The same people that I was talking to. I've been in their libraries. I had their books. Yeah, the same people. Yeah, I mean, and I had to go out and get books because they would sit up there and be talking about this, that, and the other. So, I got a little iceberg of what they had. They got big libraries. But, you know what I mean? So, I mean, those people that I called out, and I love it. I've been very lucky, to be around them, to be in their houses, and all that kind of stuff, So, yeah.
Thank you, brother.
50 years. This brand right here is an institution himself in Harlem. His mind is a great repository of history. So when you out here, support the brother, man. Show him the table. The brother has books. He has all kind of things, videos. He has things that can help you enhance and broaden your scope, your depth, and your width of knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and insight of who you are in the world in which you live in. Okay, and how to be better, stronger, productive black people.
And when you come out here from different cities, when you see that red van right there, this is Brother Sakou. Right. His table is right here. Make sure you support our brother. He's been out here for years delivering this work, giving up this information to our people. Our brother, the legend, Sakou.
Hey, man, I don't know your name, but you
Sankofa, brother Sankofa.
Hey,
yes, sir. All right.
That was pretty good.
All right, thank you very much. Coming from you, I'm humbled. Very much so. You was here when my mother was a child, So, that's big coming from you. So, I'm going to keep...
That's Sutek, brother.
Yeah.
Not brother, but him and Sutek,
Yeah. Okay. So, that's great.
Yeah. They got a history.
Okay. So, it's an honor because I'm filling Sutek's shoes on my post here as the national spokesperson for the House of Consciousness. So being that I'm young, I'm still evolving, I still have a lot more to learn. It's a post that I take serious, but I have to be humble. Even though I'm strong, I have to be humble because there's a lot of great people such as yourself that I meet that always reminds me that I have so much in all, man. I've been through a lot and seen a lot, but and that's nothing. I'm still in I received the junior high school of consciousness. I have yet to go to the greater universities. You know what I mean? So, it's an honor, a privilege, and I look forward to building with you and learning from you a lot more. Okay, so the viewing audience out there, support this brother when you're in Harlem. Check it out, and first and foremost, well, I'm going to end it off with, that's what I should say, support House of Consciousness, Sarnetta TV, make contributions and donations, and remember, December 13th, National Black Theater, Harlem, New York City. We got the Comedic Armageddon War Conference. Peace and Black Power is going down, family.
All right. If you get lost on your way here to come support our brother Sakou, you got Staples right there. That's right. When you see that, or you can look across the street, you see these stores. He's around this area somewhere. All right?
Red van.
Look for that red van. There's only one red van that's been here for years. Yeah, all right? You see his work right there? Come on out here and support our brother. If you think you got all the DVDs already, come out here and give our brother a donation. All is love, and this is peace. And we say Black Power, family.
Hey man, thank you all. I appreciate
Thank you.
Yes, sir, brother. Say cool.